Hi everyone, so welcome to Castle Bay on the tiny island of Barra at the southern end of the Outer Hebrides or the Western Isles, whatever you want to call it. And today I'm starting properly my next leg of this journey around the British coast. And so I ended last time, as you probably know, at Ardmurchan Lighthouse. Well, today I started off in Oban and I've got the ferry, to here, and it took about 5.5 hours. And here I am. You can probably see the castle right behind it, after which the bay is named. So from here, this tiny island of Barra, I'm going to cycle around the western coast of Barra to the northern tip. And it's about 6 o'clock in the evening now, so I don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to find a nice pitch, hopefully on a beach. Yes, and then the real cycling can begin tomorrow with a very early morning ferry. But for now, it's been a chill day. I've been doing a lot of sitting down waiting. Yeah, let's get a tent pitched up. So for anybody trying to do the coast of Britain in stages rather than in one long go, this next journey is the most complicated. If, like me, you're dependent on trains to get you and your bike to and from the start and end, then the Outer Hebrides and mainland Scottish Highlands are a logistical nightmare. Only a handful of coastal train stations exist north of Oban, so I decided to do it all in one go. The islands and the north coast, finishing hopefully at Aberdeen, or Inverness if needs be. Altogether is a journey of 614 miles or 988 kilometres, and it would take me 15 days of cycling at a medium to hard level. So after an exciting ferry ride in pleasant conditions across the Sea of the Hebrides, I landed at the southern tip of the Western Isles, on the beautiful island of Barra. In weather like this, the ferry ride itself is something of a highlight, following the narrow passage between Mull and the mainland, before suddenly opening out onto blue sea, where dolphins play against the spectacular backdrop of the Scottish coast. From Castle Bay, I cycled a short way to this beach here, where I was able to pitch my tent on the grass overlooking the world's only beach airport. Opened in 1936, Barra Airport is a proper airport, running scheduled flights to Glasgow and back. It has 3 runways to make sure any approach is possible, no matter what the wind direction. But because the runways are all out on the sand, during high tide they also disappear completely. As wonderful and unique as this airport is, and how great it would have been to see the famous twin otter planes taking off, flights are still quite rare and weather dependent. So sadly the beach was just beach while I was there. So I'm a few miles north of Eriskay now. I've just got off the ferry, well, about an hour ago, and the sun has risen beautifully and it's actually a perfect cycling day. So the sun is out, the temperature's nice, there's hardly any wind, any breeze. Yeah, couldn't have asked for a better start really. It's so barren around here though. I know that's kind of the point of the Hebrides, but I love it. Hello. Right, so I've been riding all day, and I think I've come across my first tree. There's actually loads of them up there. There's a forest up there. How mad is that? Yeah, the Hebrides famously lacking in trees. But there's a little forest, so much so that they've had to put a special sign here just to let you know there's a woodland here. That is a sight. Okay, so I'm having a bit of a pit stop at the very, very top of North Uist, and I've come across one of the famous white sandy beaches, and look at that blue turquoise water. That could be in the Caribbean. That is amazing. Look at that bay down there, look at that beach. On a day like today as well, it's just absolutely gorgeous. There can't be a better place on earth on a day like today. And I was going to camp here tonight, but it's only 4 o'clock, so I've got a lot of time to kill. I've still got the itch, I've still got the travel bug, so I think I might try and get the ferry if I'm quick enough. It's at it's at 20 past 5, so that's a couple of miles away. So I might have a little bit of time just to chill out on the beach before I do that. The ferry over to Harris. So yeah, what do you reckon? Should I get in the water? Right, so quick update. I'm now on Harris. So this is day 3 properly, and there's a storm, and it's been raging all day long. So much so that I'm not even bothered getting the camera out. What's the point? You can't see anything. So I've just stopped at a bus shelter. I think it's a bus shelter at the side of the road. And it's so windy and so rainy. I've done altogether about 10 or 15 miles so far, and it's already the afternoon, so I've done hardly anything at all. Yep, after a nice sleep on this beach at the foot of Harris, I found myself the next morning in the middle of a raging storm. Drenched head to foot with winds that quite literally were blowing me off the bike, making tediously slow progress, physically exhausted, and everywhere nearby fully booked for the night. A youth hostel in the middle of nowhere suddenly appeared. Okay, so it's getting near the end of the day now, and I've found a dry roof for myself. The storm is raging outside. It's actually just calmed down a little bit, which is annoying because it makes me feel like I should go back out. But anyway, I've paid for a room now. So this is the Scaledale Youth Hostel, and even though it's Saturday and it's a bank holiday weekend, there's nobody here. I'm the only one here tonight, and as you can see, my entire stuff is just everywhere, drying off. Socks on the radiator, but literally when I got here, everything I possessed was wet, including stuff in the bags. Now these are Ortlieb bags. Everybody goes on about how they're waterproof. They're not entirely waterproof. There's a lot of things in there that got wet. That's a quick review for you there. But yeah, so it looks like I'm here for the night. I've got Wi-Fi, I've got a shower, I brought food with me, obviously. I've got a nice warm roof over my head. Got a crossword book to kill the time. I've got internet. Looking at maps, my favourite thing in the world. But it's 5 o'clock now. I might as well just stay here, let things dry off. That's the point. Everything's just drenched, and I'm not in the mood for cycling with wet clothes for the next 2 or 3 days. I know that's part of the gig. So yeah, the problem is I was wanting to go to the butt of Uist at some point. Stopping here, I don't think I've given myself. I think I've done nearly 20 miles today. That's not nearly enough. So don't know if I've given myself enough to go to the butt of Uist and then back to the ferry at Stornoway, because I have booked a ferry to get off. And so yeah, this is one of the dilemmas. Yesterday was so beautiful. I was on a tropical beach yesterday. Can you believe that? Okay, so it's day 4, I think. I've left the youth hostel now. I'm officially on the Isle of Uist. So goodbye, Harris. It was nice knowing you. And it's an absolutely perfect morning for cycling. And look at the straight road ahead of me. It's about half seven in the morning, and I've got a nice day ahead of me now. I'm going to go to the Callanish Standing Stones and then find somewhere to sleep on the west coast. Oh, compared to yesterday, this is like a dream. I've just been smiling all morning. There are numerous Stone Age ritual sites in this small part of the island, all about 5,000 years old. But the larger Callanish stone circle is one of the most impressive prehistoric sites in the British Isles. It consists of a relatively small stone circle with several rows running off it. In the centre lies the largest stone, the monolith, which is a whopping 4.8 metres high and weighs around 7 tonnes. Now, it's not known exactly why it or any of the other local ancient sites are here, in this small corner of Uist. Unlike Stonehenge, there doesn't seem to be any alignment with heavenly bodies. But I think the idea that the truth may now be lost forever is what makes this place so special. Unable to make the northernmost tip of Uist up here without risking missing my pre-booked ferry trip back to the mainland, I instead headed straight for Stormy, the largest town in the Outer Hebrides and a major fishing centre for over a century. By early evening, I was back on mainland Britain in the small town of Ullapool and headed to Aberdeen to spend the night at a proper campsite with a much needed shower. Right, so day 6, it's quite early in the morning. Day 6 is about 7 o'clock, I suppose, it's not that early. I'm a few miles north of Ullapool. So yes, I'm entering the northwestern corner of Scotland now. And as you can see, imagine this on a sunny day. Look at those mountains, beautiful it would be, but I've got 3 days of rain forecast, hence the raincoat. So anyway, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to head for somewhere called Stormy, and then tomorrow I'm going to hit the north coast and see how far I can get. So today's a bit of an easy one, it's only about 40 miles today. Right, it's just occurred to me, you know, I've got a red bike with green bags. It's quite bright looking, and now I've got a blue coat as well, which I bought the other day. It goes well with my orange, of course. Well, the other day I had a bright idea because I had really wet gloves in that storm to go buy some marigolds and washing up gloves. And I just, because they go over my other gloves and it actually keeps them waterproof. Stroke of genius. Or the stroke of a madman at the end of his pitiful rope. Anyway, look at the state of me now. I'm like every colour. I look like what a kid would colour in a cyclist in a colouring in book featuring a cyclist. I look like what a clown would imagine a cyclist looks like. I'm every colour you could think of. I wonder what people must think of me when I'm cycling on. Yeah, so I've been making really good time today. The weather's chilled out, as you can tell. It's nice and dry and clear, and you can see for very far. So now I've decided I'm not going to stay at Scoury. I'm going to go on to Durness, and I'm part of the way there now, to be honest with you. I've got about 12 miles to Durness from here. And this is the bit where I was really looking forward to on this entire trip. This entire coastal trip, really, because this is the most remote part of mainland Britain now coming up. Or at least that's what it looks like on a map. I'm sure there's bits somewhere which are more remote than this, but look at it, it's just wild and open. Cape Wrath is kind of in that direction. I'll see about going there maybe tomorrow. But anyway, it's not as remote as I thought it was going to be. I've been passed by about 6 million camper vans and 5 million motorbikes today, and it's yeah, I kind of thought this would be me on the open road and it'd be all romantic and stuff. There's the road winding away down there, but it's not. It's been touristy. And what's also significant about this, obviously, is that this is the last stretch of road where I'll be heading north, proper north. There will be other bits here and there around the coast where I'll go around river estuaries and little peninsulas and stuff, but this is the last stretch now heading north, actually properly north, until one day I get to the coast around Land's End, and even then that's not really that north, it's more like a northeasterly, and it's so really like St David's, Pembrokeshire is the next time you actually head north. Yeah, a turning point. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this little bit. I hope it's just everything I imagined it to be, but like everything in life, it probably won't be. Yeah, so I'm about halfway along the moors now, and it is remote. The landscape's very remote. This road is like the M1, to be honest. It's busy. Case in point. So you've got all these passing places. If you're on a bike, you need to keep jumping into these because people will not stop. A lot busier than I thought this. Anyway, not far to go now. We'll soon be heading downhill into Durness. And then I've just met a backpacker on the road called Patrick. He said there's a youth hostel there, which I might treat myself to because I had such fun at the last one. Just because it's going to rain tonight and it saves me having to pack away a wet tent in the morning. So youth hostel. Right, so this is Durness. Welcome to the North Sea, the north coast of Britain. And look at those waves down there, amazing. Anyway, I just wanted to say that descent into Durness from the top of the moors was just legendary. It was just fantastic. I must have done about 8 miles in about 5 minutes. But yeah, beautiful scenery. Made the whole thing worthwhile. And yesterday I did 66 miles or something like that from Ullapool. Which was a lot more than I thought. So today I'm going to maybe take it easy, maybe not. Anyway, we're on the north coast now, the north coast of Britain, and it's only a short little bit before you turn south. But I'm really going to make the most of this, I think. Right outside Durness is the fantastically named Smoo Cave, a natural sea cave that has merged with a freshwater cave formed by a waterfall flooding down from the surface. It's essentially 2 caves in one. It's thought that the cave was used by smugglers, pirates and voyagers looking to repair their boats away from the tide, especially during Viking occupation of the land. After the cave, I had to battle another rainstorm trying to circumnavigate Loch Erybol, which stabs like an inconvenient dagger into anyone trying to head along the north coast without diversion. The storm peaked somewhere ironically called Hope, but soon dissipated, and by early evening I was ready to call it a day at another campsite, here at Melvich. Okay, so day 8 now, and I'm a few miles outside of Thurso. I'm approaching Thurso, and I'm ahead of schedule. And I've stopped here, not because it's full of crows, there's just crows everywhere. I've never seen so many in one place, but because suddenly I've got trees, and it's been days since I've cycled actually past a good wedge of trees, and it's just nice to stop and appreciate that, because obviously Scotland is a little bit barren of trees in the Highlands, but when there are trees, they're all being cut down as part of this forestry industry. So to actually see some natural trees makes a nice bloody change, I tell you. Right, so this is Durness Head Lighthouse, and I'm stood on Durness Head, which is kind of a knuckle-shaped bit of land sticking out into in towards the north. This is the northernmost point of Great Britain, the island of Great Britain. It's right where this lighthouse is, and as you can see, across there is the Orkney Islands. The Orkney Islands are over there. Beautiful calm sea. This point here, by the way, is the absolute, where the wall finishes, the absolute northernmost tip. And believe me, it's a big drop down there, it's a cliff. I ain't getting any closer than where I am now. But yeah, the lighthouse is privately owned, as of course it would be in Britain. Everything is bloody privately owned. You're not supposed to be stood where I am anyway. So yeah, in my last leg I managed to get to Achnamerkin Lighthouse over on the west coast, the westernmost point of Great Britain. Well, here I am, Durness Head, the northernmost point of Great Britain. And that's two wonderful little extremities ticked off there for me on this coastal journey. And of course the next one is the easternmost point, which is somewhere in East Anglia, so that's miles away, that's years away, that's many legs of journeying and cycling away for me. So I'm going to soak this in while I can. But of course I had a couple more places to pay homage to before turning southwards. John O'Groats is the famous end point for those journeying by foot, bike or car to the top of Scotland, to have an obligatory photograph with a signpost, especially those attempting to do the standard Land's End to John O'Groats trip. Well, that's only because it's the nearest settlement to the actual extremity, a couple of miles further east. This is the real point of mainland Britain, furthest from Land's End, down in Cornwall. One often overlooked by tourists, but not by fundamentalist completionists like me. Right, so this is it. This is the lighthouse at Duncansby Head, the furthest point you can get from Land's End. This is it. Not the furthest north as we've seen, and certainly not John O'Groats, which is a bit of a one-horse town. I've just stopped off there. But yeah, this lighthouse here, a couple of miles from John O'Groats, and it's just started raining. You can see better from here. The lighthouse. And the Orkney's just over there behind the rain clouds, and then out there just nothing. That is to the east that way now, so there's nothing between here and Norway. Wow, amazing. So this is it. This is where I'm going to end this video. It's not the end of the journey for me. Obviously I've got another week left, so I'm going to be I'm aiming for Aberdeen, which is obviously a few hundred miles away. But I'm going to end this video here, so if you want to see me go to Aberdeen, watch the next one. But for now, it's been an absolute epic journey along the Outer Hebrides and the epic wild northern coast of Scotland. What a place to end it. And from here, my journey around Britain now is perpetually going south. There's no more north for me now. It's south all the way to Kent, with a few additions here or there. But yeah, pretty much it's a south journey now for me, a southerly journey along Britain's coast. But anyway, I'll see you in the next video. I'm going to find somewhere to shelter before this rain gets worse, and I think it will get worse. So from Duncansby Head, the tip of Britain, see you later.